Surprisingly, I'm not dead and buried after all I've been through. My story told here on Left Turn Chronicles.
Welcome back to Left Turn Chronicles, my peeps. I am JLE, your host, and today we continue our journey with Phoenix. How are you doing, Phoenix?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Feeling much better. Last episode was kind of got
Yeah,
over it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We're glad
Um,
you're back today. And peeps, if
mhm.
you haven't checked out the previous episodes, please go ahead and take a listen. I'm telling you, they are compelling. They're just, like I said before, they're heartwarming, and I'm getting goose pimples just even thinking about it. So go ahead and get caught up and join us here for the next segment of the Chronicles. Now, today we're going to talk about a few things. And this one is really juicy. I sit up in my chair and I really want to hear this one because I always think that a man's first love really does impact him. So I wanted to hear about your story. So, um, in the last episode, you mentioned that you met your first love a little after high school, right?
Right. 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 Okay. Well, if they're following, they'll know that. As I said in the last episode, my father was pretty cool with me. Like I could invite girls over, spend the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of stuff. But so it got to the point where I was running the business and all that, and then I left for us to New York to visit a cousin of mine. Spend some time up there in New York. So having fun and thing, and I was over his house one day and decided to have a little get together, and some friends came over, and there was this girl that came over, nice, slim, beautiful looking girl. She caught my eye, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I was a bit, well, I was shy when I was ready. Like if I really was interested in somebody, the shyness would come out. If it's just
Mm-hmm.
somebody that I didn't really care much about, or you just want to date them or whatever, then I was just straight out forward and bold, didn't care what they, thought of me. So what I said, but this girl had me, acting a little bit shy.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay. So talk to her. Um, got her, well, them time they never have cell phone, but you had your house number and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. So I got all of that information and all of that, and then we saw each other a few more times before I came back down. So I came back to
So, so,
Jamaica.
so, so to get the gist, she lives in New York.
Yes,
Lives
yes,
in New
yes, yes.
York. And how long
She
were you
lives
staying in New
in New
York?
York. I was there for just not a long time at all. Just a few weeks, just vacation,
Mm-hmm.
little vacation. So it it turned out that yeah, I said we met. I was interested in her, and then so after talking with her and thing, then I went back down to Jamaica. Went back down to Jamaica. We used to talk up in New York. I used to see her a lot. Then I went back down to Jamaica. So after going back down to Jamaica, now I used to spend them time you spend a lot of money on long distance call.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to call her all the time, buying calling card, all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so we ended up talking for a while. And after I found out that I was developing, feelings for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to get to know her better and all of that. And my birthday came around. She used to send me gifts. Christmas, I used to, ask my cousin to go to like the flower shop up there
Mm-hmm.
and get gifts for her,
Oh.
roses and all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we developed a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to the point where um I I wanted her to come down and spend time with me. So she was actually staying with her grandmother then in New York. That's who
Mm-hmm.
she was living with. So she asked her grandmother. Well, I met her grandmother, spoke to my father, and they agreed that it was okay for her to come down and visit.
Mm-hmm.
Old fashioned way you ask,
Mm-hmm.
each other's guardian. So yeah, so and she did come down and visit. We had a wonderful time. She spent the entire summer with me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wonderful. Yeah, man, wonderful time. I definitely was in love.
Oh.
So it went on for maybe a good year with dating and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I was still, going every chance I got though. Like I know I went back up to New York a couple times and saw her again and came back down. And so one day I was at home and I got a phone call from my cousin. And my cousin said to me, "Hey, when was the last time you spoke to?" I was gonna say, let's just say Jay. When I said the last time you spoke to Jay, I said, "Well, it's been a few days and stuff." And he was like, "Listen, things I don't like what I'm seeing." So I like, "What do you mean?" So he was like, "Well, I think she's cheating on you."
Mm.
So I was like, "What? What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, yeah, him see her and word on the road is she dating this other guy and him see her with a guy and all that stuff."
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "Listen, you might get a call from her." So I said, because he said to me, "Well, listen, I told her that she she needs to call you
Mm-hmm.
and tell you what's going on and all of that." So anyway, so hung up the phone. About an hour later or whatever, she called.
Mm-hmm.
So I know once I heard that call, once that I pick up the phone and it was her,
Mm-hmm.
I knew it. I knew it. So I know it was all true.
Mm.
So anyway, I cried.
What was the
I
phone
cried. I
call
really
like
cried.
though? What was the phone call like? Like, what did
It
she
it
say?
it it was awkward. She really didn't say it out of her mouth. She didn't admit to it, but she kind of, was like, "Well, I know you know what's going on, and I'm so sorry." And she really had feelings for me and still have feelings, and she messed up and all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The usual excuses are you hear.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's that's what I tell you. I really cry. She's the first woman. I think maybe the first and last
Mm.
that made me cry.
Mm.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
So it's a tough situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically left it there. I know I went back up to New York and I saw her again, and we of course we saw each other, we messed around and all that, but there was
Mm-hmm.
no feelings there. I
Mm-hmm.
really was bitter towards her.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't show her it, but I knew that I would never love her.
Mm.
Never love her. So yeah, that was when I remember you asked me a question in the previous episode about when I really
Mm-hmm.
started to get like guard my heart, like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that was it. That was it.
Okay.
That
Okay.
was it. Because she, apart from my grandmother, who didn't die yet, she was the second woman that I really loved. So it was my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Well, loved and lost, I should say. Loved and
Mm-hmm.
lost. So it was my mother, then her, and until my grandmother passed. But yeah. So she contributed to me kind of like not believing in love.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like I started to get that little feeling like, what's the point? Because it's like what you love, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
That's a trend that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Although it was really early in my life, but I just kind of started feeling that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I just couldn't bother with love.
Yeah.
Couldn't bother
No.
with love.
After you went up and you saw her, you mentioned that you saw her when you went up again to New York, and you guys spent some time together. Did she ever ask for your forgiveness at that time or explain the entire situation? What happened?
Yeah, man. Yeah. She tried many times.
Mm-hmm.
She tried many times,
Okay.
but it didn't make no sense to me. I mean, I didn't. You have to remember also, it's not like I was really fully mature at that time. I was. It's not like I was in my 30s or my 40s or where you'd say, okay, well, people do make mistakes, and so I was young. I was
Mm-hmm.
young, and I just felt like, okay, you hurt me, so to
Mm-hmm.
hell with you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
that that was how I was feeling back then. It was like, okay, so now I kind of like developing the thing like, okay, all right, on to the next one,
Mm-hmm.
because that was the attitude. That was because it just did not make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
Mm-hmm.
just felt like, yeah, you're young and in love. You just feel like, okay, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
But not knowing at that age that there's so much more to learn
Mm-hmm.
about love and relationships and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But that's when I kind of just like decided say I'm just gonna have fun,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I kind of didn't really care who I hurt or who I was involved with. It was all about me.
Mm-hmm. And that brings us to another incident that happened later on. Now, how old were you at this point?
Oh
When?
gosh, but I tell you something. These years, because I mean it's been so long,
Mm-hmm.
so long. you know, to keep the exact track of these years, I know as maybe around 18, 19, maybe getting close to 20. Because we started talking, I think, with maybe when I was about between 17, 18,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
around there. And then we did for about a year it was going on. So I said maybe somewhere around 19.
19. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
maybe going on, maybe turning into 20, but yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Jamaica, there's a song, "The First Cut is the Deepest."
If what?
There's a song in Jamaica that says, "The first cut is the deepest."
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes. Yeah, man, yeah, man.
Definitely
Yeah,
applies to
man.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. And as I'm listening to you, the theme of loss in different areas of your life, it keeps coming up. You know, there's a loss in a societal way when the incident happened at 10 with the
Mm-hmm.
criminal investigation and everything. And then there was a
Mm-hmm.
familial loss with your mom. And then there's the loss of your first true love, you know?
All right.
And when all of those things are compounded, it does make you guarded, because those types of pain is raw. It's raw. You
Yeah.
really don't want to relive them.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So after Jay, another incident happened that is really interesting. If you can tell us the details with the married lady and
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So, I told you I was just out there going wild, dating
mm-hmm,
whoever and didn't care. So, there was this young lady. Well, there were about three young ladies that used to work at um at the business at our business. My dad and I, it's our business. Three ladies that used to work there, and there was one that I kind of I took a liking to her, and she was older than me. She was older than me. She was maybe about 4 years older than me,
mm-hmm,
or maybe a little more. And she, I decided to take her out and stuff. And well, from being there at the business, I knew that she was going through some marital problems. That we should be talking with the other girls there. You overhear stuff,
mm-hmm,
and so I knew she was going through some problems. So I, took her out to dinner and all of that, and I was kind of like, well, let's not really, because it's, maybe it's not a good idea to be really with dating in the workplace, but, I like you and all that. And so it was kind of like on a hush hush. I don't know how my dad found out, but
mm.
anyway, let him find out.
That was going to be another question. If that did know.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but him find out and him, but I told him my dad was really cool. So it wasn't like he was like, no, it can't happen, but he was just like, listen, be careful. I mean, you might think you like her, you might be in love, but at the same time, be careful. She's older than you. She's married. And at the same time, you don't know if she's trying to just look for a better opportunity. So get out of what she's in and try to get with you.
Mm-hmm.
So just be careful. Like he just he pointed out all the possibilities to me. And I didn't care because it excited me.
Mm-hmm.
One, as dating a married woman, and two, she was older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And she was way more experienced than me. And it was just a total different kind of dating.
Mm-hmm.
So she was way more mature and stuff. So anyway, yeah, it went on until I think the husband got word of it, what was going on, and he wasn't happy about it. And I know he used to follow me sometimes cause he used to drive for Juta tours. And I knew the vehicle that he used to drive and thing, and I always see the vehicle popping up at places where I go. So I knew he was kind of watching me, he was kind of following me to see if. But we would never ever leave the business place together. I never leave. It's like I would tell her to, take a taxi and go here, take a taxi and go, meet me here, meet me there.
Mm-hmm.
So we would never be seen together until we are actually at the place or whatever. So and then sometimes like I would possibly like get a weekend, like a Saturday night, Sunday night thing at a hotel or something.
Mm-hmm.
Spend time there, and that's what I would spend time on. But anyway, what I do remember, one day I went home, and I don't remember where my dad was. I think he probably was after Highland or something. But I told her to take a taxi up to my house. And then I came in after her. So she went in the yard and she was around the back waiting. And then I drove in afterwards. And then shortly after that, I saw this vehicle pull up at my gate.
Mm-hmm.
The husband.
Mm-hmm.
And blowing and shouting and calling her.
Oh, good.
She must come out. He knows that she in there. one piece of drama in our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
and him can't believe that she do this and all kind of something. And but you see, to the person out there, they would think that okay, well, like she just straight out cheating or whatever. But they really, I knew that they really divorce was the next step.
Mm-hmm.
They really were not together. But anyway. So yeah man, one big thing and all of that, and until I went out to the gate and I was like, yo, leave. You have to leave. You can't come and so on. It's like leave. So the one big thing and until I remember my neighbor even came up. I was like, if well my neighbor at the time, he was a licensed firearm holder, so I remember well, my peeps, thanks for listening, and remember to tune in to the next engaging episode. And don't let the left turns in your life deter you from going right.